Good morning, everyone. The Delaware County Commissioner meeting for January 18th, 2024 is now in session. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning, everyone. I'm Gary Merrill, President of the Board this year, and to my right is fellow Commissioner and Vice President, Commissioner Barb Lewis, and our Administrator, Tracy Davies, with us, as well as our Deputy Administrator, Eric Hostedler, and our clerks, Brandy Wilson and Jennifer Walworth. And let's begin.
Resolution number 24-37, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held January 11th, 2024.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 24-37. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
And Mr. Benton is absent today. We do not have any public comment today, so that brings us to item number 3, resolution number 24-38, in the matter of approving purchase orders and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 0117 and memo transfers in batch number MT APR 0117.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 24-38. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 24-39, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 24-39. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 24-40, in the matter of acknowledging receipt of the Treasurer's Report for the month of December 2023.
So moved.
Second, and discussion, I believe we have Rick Carr with us.
Thank you. Rick Carr, Chief Investment Officer for the Treasurer's Office. Just a quick note that the Treasurer's Office returned a total of about $4.4 million of interest for 2023, about 12.5 to the general fund of that 14. That's a historic record amount. If we look back for the last 10 years of what we've done from an interest perspective, and a lot of it was the strategy that was put forth in 2021 and 2022 to have the cash available and investable to generate that return. So the good news also is, as we look forward into 2024, that we've secured over $8.5 million in interest revenue for this year, and looking to build on that throughout the year, hopefully equal to what we've done in 2023. So if there's any questions, happy to answer them. The important note is everything's done per ORC relative to the investments, and everything per policies held to maturity. So there's no loss of principal, and it's all principal when it matures, the original principal plus the interest accrued. So we're doing very well from an investment perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions or comments? Call for vote.
Vote on motion 24-40. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 24-41, in the matter of approving the intergovernmental agreement between the Board of Commissioners, Delaware County, Ohio, and the Board of Trustees of the BST&G Joint Fire District.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Jeff Fischel, Director of EMS, Delaware County. In front of you is a agreement between us and the BST&G Fire District to build a joint EMS and fire station off of Wilson Road to better serve the residents in Berkshire Township and that side of Sunbury. I'm here to answer any questions if you have any. We're very excited to have this cooperative agreement with the BST&G Fire District, who we work so well with.
And we're partnering with them, and I know there'll be a lot of conversations going forward.
Yeah, Monday is our first meeting with design meeting.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
No.
Call for vote.
Vote on motion 24-41. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Next on our agenda, we have the Executive Director of the Delaware County Transit, and he has a presentation for us this morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everyone. Andy Volnick, Delaware County Transit. Is it good to go? Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm very excited to talk about our year in review, right? So it's the new year, it's 2024. What did 2023 look like for Delaware County Transit? I'm gonna go through a few slides here, but at any point if there are questions, please stop me. But before we do this, not everybody's always familiar with Delaware County Transit, so it's good to introduce us and our services. We are ran by a board. We have 7 board members. Our chair is Farzan Ahmed. We have Beth Futrick, Jason Sanson, Bruce Lukey, who's in attendance today, Ben Turner, Sarah Huffman, and just recently added Joe Love. You can see DCT by the numbers. We have currently 54 staff members. It's actually going to go down to 53. We have somebody retiring on Friday. We have 37 drivers, 30 vehicles, and our 2023 operating budget was $4.035 million. Again, for those unaware, we're located here in the city of Delaware in the southwest kind of quadrant, just off of London on Johnson Drive. Again, a good reminder, DCT's core services. And I say that because we do provide some special trips. You're aware of those for things like PalFest or the Galena Fall Festival that we helped out this season. We help out with First Friday, but our core business is our Flex service, which in our industry is called microtransit, right? It's same-day Uber-style service constrained to a geographic area. And a good example of that is we provide that service to the city of Delaware today. It's $2 one way, so $4 round trip, and then we do have discounts for youth, elderly, and disabled passengers. Their fare drops to $1, and if you're 0 to 4 years old, you ride for free. Isn't that nice? And then we have our demand response service, which is our county-wide service. This is the more traditional kind of on-demand service when we talk to our peers throughout the state, our other county transit agencies. It's a tiered fare-based system, so 0 to 10 miles is an $8 trip, 11 to 20. This is just one way, mind you. 11 to 20 is $17, and anything over 20 is $29. And we do provide non-emergency medical trips to the contiguous counties. So if somebody has a specialty appointment down, say at the Wexner Medical Center, we do provide those trips, and it's $3.80 per mile. Now, I will pause. For the demand response service, many of those trips are for medical services. So this is a necessary service. Flex service, many of those trips are for jobs and shopping. And I'll go through some of those stats here as we walk through. But those are just reminders, right? Now, a good pause. So some of you have seen these slides before, so this is going to be a little bit redundant, but that's okay because I sit and read this all the time. I don't expect others to. Delaware County Transit, in the time of what the graphs that you're looking at was called data. And we had a fixed route system. A fixed route system is buses going up and down the street on a scheduled time, every 10 minutes, every 20 minutes, every hour, every 90 minutes. That was more so what this service was. And I tried to put a little map up there to just remind everybody how circuitous the system was. In order to get from some spots, if you wanted to go from the west side up to the Kroger on Houck, you would have to go almost back downtown to go back out on some trips. Who was using that? Well, you're going to see here in these numbers what that service really looked like. So 2015, 2016, and 2017, those would have been considered record years in the past. And then you see the dip there in 2018 and 2019 because service was being cut. Saturday service was being cut. I believe Sunbury service was being cut at that time. We were a system in decline. And I'll be candid. You can kind of see why. Who in their right mind would use this type of service when you could just get on Central and go straight to the Kroger or the shopping centers or your jobs? Well, then, of course, there's that thing, COVID happens, and it completely changes how things had to operate during that time. And staff at that time made the decision, because of the FTA's restrictions on how many people could be on a vehicle, we could no longer, quote unquote, pack our vehicles. You couldn't have 6 passengers on one of our vehicles. So we changed it to this on-demand flex-style service halfway through 2020. Now, these numbers are important, right? So 41,605 trips. This was very common across the country. Everybody was at the stay-at-home orders. You're seeing that occur everywhere. This DCT is not unique in this area. This number is important, 72,927,000 trips. First full year of flex service, first full year of really getting our feet wet with that service. It matched 2019's numbers by, it's like 100 trips it's below.
And I
Yes,
ask
sir.
you a question. When you say trips, is it
Yes, sir.
round trip 2 or round trip 1?
Good question. One trip.
Okay.
So you go, one trip, you come back, that's your second trip. So that counts as 2 trips.
So
one
round trip
passenger.
is 2 trips?
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just curious.
No, that's a good question, and it does get a little tricky because there are some people who use it to go one way and then somebody takes them home for another service, or they're meeting friends or something like that, right? And some passengers use it 6, 7, 8 times in a day. So it's not always balanced like that, but that is the right way to understand it. So 2022, if you'll recall, that was a record-breaking year. We serviced 104,232 trips. First time in the agency's history of doing 100,000 plus trips. That is a 30,000 trip increase from the previous year, which is a monumental success. But it wasn't without its challenges, because we weren't always being a good partner. We weren't always delivering on our promises. In 2022, we also were incurring record denials. Denials is this concept within transit like our county-style transits where we are at max capacity, we cannot provide you service, we'll get you tomorrow. That's kind of the mentality. When I came on board at the end of 22, I believe the commissioners are aware, but to make it very evident, the phrase I used in staff meetings was denials over my dead body. I have my CDL with passenger endorsement. If we were ever going to deny a trip, we better drag people out of their offices to deliver service. We are no longer denying service.
And that had happened, unfortunately.
Correct, sir. Unfortunately, that had. And so we changed that narrative. We just broke our record from last year with 118,000 trips, 118,332 to be exact. So with the same service, a modest budget increase, we broke that record again. And that's the first time that this agency has ever had back-to-back 100,000 trips. As you can see, those 80,000 trip numbers from almost 10 years ago now, we're blowing those out of the water. And I just want to show the graph all together because now you're going to see almost a 10-year period of service. That's just those graphs all put together. So how does this happen? So to walk it back, when we went from 22 to 23, we did not provide any new service. We did not extend our hours. We did not do a new geographic area. We did not go out and do anything that should have really seen that type of increase. That's a 14% increase in our ridership. So how does that happen? And I put this bullet point on here because I think this is critical for not just our agency, but the agencies across the country is we have to refocus on the customer experience. At the end of the day, those are people that are still getting on your vehicle and using a service, and you need to make it as exemplary as possible. So a consistent commitment to excellence. The 0 denials in 2023. This is a part of me. We had 0 denials. No denials in 2023, which is excellent. Compared to in the previous months, we would have, or in that year of 2022, we had a record high in the 300s, but we were averaging something like 15 to 20 denials a month. It's unacceptable. We're not doing that anymore. It's part of our DNA now. We will not deny a trip. We also got a new dispatch software. So we have an app for our Flex service. So within the city of Delaware, you can go ahead and take out your phone and you can schedule a trip and pay for a trip right there. And this system is doing some really exciting things for us. The last 3 months of 2023, we serviced 10,000 plus trips each month, October, November, and December. We've never done that before. This system, they bragged about it. Of course, a vendor will always brag that they're the best one, right? But they bragged about their algorithm will find efficiencies. It will figure out how to make certain to put trips where no one else can figure out how to put trips to make it as efficient and effective as possible. We're seeing that because we're seeing this dramatic increase in our ridership. Reigniting relationships with partners. I have this picture here of my county peers, right? We have our Director of Economic Development, Monica Connors, Bob Anderson from Job and Family Services, and Scott Sanders over in Planning. We want to be a partner with our county partners. We want to serve together. This is not some trying relationship. We're here to take care of our peers. So we're reigniting those ideas and concepts and trying to solve problems together. Developing internal metrics. So this is the sheet with all the red and green. Green's good, red's bad, right? Yellow's okay. This is an internal grade card that we use and we present to every operations committee, finance committee, and board meeting to show how we're doing. It's a way that we grade ourselves. And we're looking to improve on it this year and making our metrics even tighter so that we can provide a better product. Reestablishing our relationship with the county. What that means is driving home, for instance, a relationship with the HR and talking with them about what are our best practices, going through our policies together. We are not doing those just on our own. We utilize the county resources to help us with that. And of course, investing in technology and building industry relationships. We're going to our peers and saying, what are you doing that works? What are you doing that isn't working? How do we become a leader in this space as opposed to a follower? We did all of that, and that ultimately was delivering on the promise that we are going to give our customers the best service that we possibly can. And that's how you get a record-breaking service without expanding your services, right? So again, highest single year on record. Highest single week of service was right there at the end of the year. When it's starting to get colder, people, yeah, they might be shopping more, but maybe you're not going out as much. 2,631 trips served in that week. Highest flex ridership. So if you'll recall on that one slide from the 2015, 2016, we provided 83,000 trips. Our one service alone provided 88,000 plus trips, dwarfing what we did in the past. 10 out of 12 months were record-breaking months, and 7 of those months were over 10,000 trips provided. And there's no slowing down. So we've already broken our single-day record. We actually broke it twice in a week, which was exciting for us. We provided 612 trips January 3rd, and then we provided 626 trips on January 5th. That single highest week back in 2023, we just broke that here in January 8th. That's last week.
What do you account for that?
That's a great question. I account for it in the efficiency of the service. So this is going to talk a little shop, so bear with me. But our previous software, we had to separate our services, right? So those efficiencies that I was alluding to from our new service. The previous service, if you did demand response, you only did demand response. We couldn't have you go into the flex system and provide flex trips because the software didn't allow us to. If you did flex, you just did flex. This system, you can do both. You can have a trip that is down in Columbus, you bring somebody back into the city of Delaware, and then you can handle 3 or 4 flex trips while you're handling a demand response service, and we're just finding efficiencies like that throughout our rider manifests. That's what I'm accounting it to, number one. Number two, it's a service that people like. We're just seeing that. And we're seeing that when it's reliable, people want to use it. When you're not denying trips, when you're not saying, oh, we can't do that for you, saying, no, what can we do for you? How can I get you there? What's the best way to get you there? People are going to use it. And I think that's what you're seeing. Consistency breeds use, right? When it's reliable, when it's consistent, you're going to use it. You're going to use it again and again and again. That's what I attested to, are those 2 factors. And then we have a big announcement. So I'm privileged to work with what I think is one of the more talented boards that we have here in Delaware County, and we passed an aggressive 2024 budget. For the first time in nearly 10 years, we are looking at expanding service. And I'm super excited to announce that we will be expanding flex service in the communities of Sunbury and Galena. We don't know exactly yet. We're pinning that down, but it's going to be somewhere in Q3 is where we're gauging that that's going to land. And then the city of Delaware, we're expanding into evening service and Saturday service. So our current hours of service for flex are 6 to 6 and demand response. For the city of Delaware, it will now be 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. and 6 to 6 on Saturday. For Galena and Sunbury, because those are new markets, we're just going to start with 6 to 6 Monday through Friday. See where the demand is, see where the desire is, and then start to build the service from there. And then last and never least, we are finalizing our strategic plan. We've alluded to it quite a bit. We've had wonderful conversations. We had our last steering committee on December 15th. We have a work session next week with the board to actually go over these recommendations. And then we will seek board approval here at our February board meeting, barring any major changes to the recommendations. Just again, a reminder, the prime consultant is HDR engineering firm. We got a wonderful transportation planner, Josh Sikich, who I actually worked with at my time at CODA. And then Marie Kieser and her team at Murphy Epson help run all of the public engagement and communication components. Spent roughly 6 months doing this process, and we're in the final stretch of it. I'm open to any questions and comments, but before I do that, I would be remiss if I didn't thank our staff for their exemplary service, for their willingness to go this way. We are no longer passive, we are active. We are no longer just, we will do the bare minimum, we will seek excellence in everything that we do. Staff is buying in, and I'm very proud to be here in front of you today telling you about these numbers. But I am open to any questions or concerns.
Before we ask questions, you said you had one of the most talented boards. You have a board member here. Does Bruce want to say anything?
No, the only thing I would.
You don't need to come up here if you're going to say
Just
anything.
need to,
Absolutely. Thank you, and good morning. The only thing I would add is, all of this is being done, and the fiscal base underlying the organization is as sound as can be. We have a good solid base of cash and have the ability to work with the governmental entities for grants, et cetera. So I think we're on good solid footing while we grow at the same time.
And Bruce, for the record, give your full name. so-
It's Bruce Lukey, board member for Delaware Transit.
Bruce, could you just tell us a little bit about your background, which is very impressive?
Sure. Well, let's see, I was banker for most of my career, mostly in startup and turnaround type of activities. And then I'm retired now, but the last 6 years before I retired, I was the CEO of an organization called Homeport, which is an affordable housing developer, which is developing a community here in Delaware, city of Delaware. So
One of our properties.
that's exactly right.
Yes, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Thank you for serving on the board.
Sure.
And for the record too, Bruce is our newest treasurer, so isn't that exciting for him? So, thank you.
You've got an excellent board. As a matter of fact, last night I'm at another meeting and one of your board members came up to me and the topic wasn't transit at all. And she said, oh my gosh, Andy has brought this board back, and not just the board, but the whole operation. And she praised the other board members too. And I mean, it's just Farzan Ahmed, our former administrator, leads the board and has done a great job. But the quality, and that's one of the reasons, Bruce, I wanted you to mention your background, because we have some excellent board members and really appreciate your service. And what can I say about I mean, my gosh. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
Give us a little bit, in particular for any press who may be listening, your background too, Andy.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your kind words. Yeah, so just Reader's Digest version, I graduated from The Ohio State University in 2008, right at the height of the recession, with very useful degrees in philosophy and geography. And I met a really pretty girl I wanted to marry, and that worked out for me, by the way. But I had to drive buses at CODA. I started out my career as a bus operator at CODA in February 2009, and then slowly but surely worked my way up through that organization, then City of Columbus for roughly almost 7 years in public service, and then privileged to be the part of this organization October of 22.
Boy, very fortunate to have you. I would like to thank our Deputy Administrator, Dawn Houston, for her service. She was at many of the board meetings for a few years and was really our representative to the board. And Dawn is wonderful, expert in human resources, and just want to thank her for her dedication to the board. And it's been great with the report she's given us too.
Thank you.
Well, I want to add a little bit, but it'll be a little bit redundant. First of all, I think Bruce, you're the second newest member of the board, I believe, Jill being the newest. And that speaks to the quality of this board. And I do think we have a number of talented boards. I'm not going to sit up here and weigh one against the other, but it's certainly, from where we were and where we are, there is no comparison. And people like Bruce and the fellow board members and Farzan and his leadership have made a huge difference. And because of members of that board, you're with us today. And I think we're very optimistic about the future. Your enthusiasm, your passion, your knowledge, and being a bus driver probably helps. You kind of have a feel how it really works at one point. I really am looking forward to where we're going in the future. We're not where we want to be. You'd say the same thing. But we're a long ways down the road compared to where we were. And so I appreciate the follow-up and the update, and look forward to probably again in 6 months.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So just for that record, we are looking to expand that service sometime in July is what we're looking for. for the expanded in hours in the city of Delaware. And then we're gonna lick our wounds after that expansion, because that's gonna be a big haul, and then we're gonna get ready for Sunbury and Galena. So 24 will be an exciting year for us again. And we'll probably be back saying, hey, we broke another ridership record. But that one will be a little bit more obvious because we expanded service. I greatly appreciate your kind words and your leadership and your advocacy for us. I greatly appreciate the county leadership and their advocacy during this time, because it was a period of transition. It was a lot of new, but it's very exciting. And I thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy.
Proceed.
All right, item number 8, resolution number 24-42, in the matter of reappointing members to the Concord-Scioto Community Authority Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eric White's Communications Specialist. Their terms for Eric McPeak and David Fahrenholtz on the Concord-Scioto Community Authority will expire in March. Both of them have expressed an interest in continuing to serve in those capacities, and this resolution would reappoint them for another 2 years.
Very good. Any questions or comments?
I'd just like to thank them for their service in the past and willing to serve for the future.
I concur with that. Call for the vote.
Vote on motion 24-43. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 24-44, in the matter of approving a service agreement by and between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and Outsider Entertainment LLC for digital content capture services.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Yeah, this contract would be with Outsider for our video production services. It would be about a 3-year with an option for us to extend 2 additional times for 1 year each. As you're aware, we've worked with Outsider for the last couple of years. They do video production services for us. A lot of those will debut at the State of the County event to be held later this spring. They've done that kind of work for us in the past, and their work, the quality is just top-notch, and so we're excited to be able to continue that relationship.
Questions or comments?
They've done a great job. Yeah,
Call-
glad to support this.
Call for vote.
Vote on motion 24-44. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
That brings us to administrator reports.
Nothing from me today.
Nothing to report.
All right, you were up here, I thought you'd say something today. Commissioner Lewis,
Nothing to report.
I'm sorry?
Nothing
Nothing?
to report, yeah.
Okay, well, I lost my notes here, I was gonna say a few things. First of all, I will be attending the chamber event today. Regional Planning is speaking, Scott Sanders, so I will attend that as a member of the board. And we were gonna have our CCO meeting downtown tomorrow, but it's been moved to Zoom because of concern about the weather. And some of the directors coming from far out in the state, so we're gonna do it via Zoom tomorrow rather than in person. And tonight, there's a Main Street event, a 25th year celebration. I will attend that, and with that, I do believe we have need for executive session.
We do. Resolution number 24-45, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of appointment, promotion, and compensation of a public employee or public official.
So moved.
Second, discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 24-45. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
With that, we're in an executive session.